Travelers on the Omnibus occasionally touches on mature subject matter with mature language. As such, the audience discretion is advised. And we are here, gentlemen. Hello.
Hello.
All right. I like the energy. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the very first official episode of Travelers on the Omnibus, a field trip through nerd and pop culture. My name is James McCarthy.
My name is Ethan.
My name is Jody Kight.
My name is Brady Davis.
All right. Thank you very much, gentlemen. We've arrived. We finally arrived. We're on the bus, and the bus is rolling. Where's it rolling to? I don't know. Ethan, what have you been up to?
I have been fairly angry at my computer for the last couple of days.
Testify. Speak to me. What has gone on, my son?
So I got Elden Ring for my PC. And unfortunately, no matter the past 25 times I've loaded the game, it has always crashed after the opening cinematic.
Oof.
These games have gotten so hard, they don't even let you play them.
They don't even let people
Ethan,
play
why don't you just get good? Why doesn't your computer just get good?
It won't let me, Brady.
You just got to get good. That's all you got to do.
Are you sure you're not trying to load Cyberpunk 2077 from last year?
At this point, I don't know the difference anymore.
It's so hard. It's just like, nope. You can't do this.
Can't
Here's this other game that doesn't work.
Have you had this problem with like any other game?
No,
recently?
that's the weird thing, because to my understanding, Elden Ring has this easy anti-cheat program that comes with all the PC ports of it to stop like online shenanigans of people summoning players.
And it's bugging the game before it loads.
Yes.
Yeah.
So, but it's only happening on PC downloads, not on like Xbox Series, not on PlayStation, nothing like that. So hopefully I just have to wait for like a patch to come out so I can actually enjoy the game. I spent
Elden Ring
$70
by
on.
From Software. Where is it from? I don't fucking know.
I don't know to care at this point.
There you go. All right, but so has it crashed well? Like 1 out of 10. How good are the crashes?
I can get past the opening cinematic, so I know the game runs.
Okay.
Oh, okay.
But after that, it immediately crashes.
There you go.
So I'd say a good 6 out of 10 crash.
6 out of
6
10
out of
on the
10
crashes.
crash.
That's not bad at all. Not bad at all.
Could be better, though. There's room for improvement.
Yeah.
JK Kite, what do you got going on?
Recently been playing Fortnite, because that's popular, and I'm trash.
Ahead of the trend.
Yeah, 100%. Again, opinions of our own. Little bit of Minecraft because, again, I'm basic.
Yeah.
And a little bit of reading, but we'll get into that on another show.
At an indeterminate future date.
Right. I did watch the Andy Warhol Netflix limited series docu series on the man Andy Warhol, and it's very insightful, very interesting. They actually used a really weird computer-generated AI to duplicate his voice on some of it because he had a diary that came out soon after he died that pretty much like laid out everything that he did that pop culture didn't know about, such as his
creepy.
Yeah,
he's
a weird he's a weird guy, but yeah, for sure.
I think the only time I've ever seen anything about Andy Warhol was they made a reference to him in the third Men in Black movie. And that's all I know about him.
Yeah, he was like a hidden man in black. He was undercover. I was actually going to say that too, but then I didn't want to remember Men in Black 3.
Right. The only previous things I've seen, there hasn't been a lot about Andy Warhol as far as films go, but we had Basquiat. We were talking about that earlier, Jay, which is more about Jean-Paul Basquiat, the artist, the New York painter.
I think they're making a movie about him.
They made one in '96.
They may be making a new one.
A new one. I can't remember. I want to say somebody well known was attached to be him.
And then the film I Shot Andy Warhol. So that's also out there as well. So interesting stuff to check out.
Good stuff. All right. Brady, BD. What do you got? That's your initials. I didn't do it for Ethan because it's like ES and it just sounds weird. Works with JK because just kidding. Yeah. It works with BD because it sounds like BD.
How can a bus go off the rails? We're not a train.
If you ever wondered what a Mega Man 3 soundtrack would sound like if I were singing it. There you go, right there.
We're just taking multiple detours at this point.
You're gonna get us copyright struck just from
if
that
if it was good enough to be copyright struck, I need to be start getting paid for this. That's how we go there. No, Brady, what have you been doing in the doing?
So lately, I watched The Batman for the second time.
That's high praise.
Yeah. I don't
because
watch
that's
too
only.
many
I
movies.
think that's right now only in theaters. So you had to go to a theater twice.
Mm-hmm. The first time it was a marathon for the bladder, so I didn't really get to give an honest opinion of the third act. So, but it was much easier this time, and it's a good movie. I liked it a lot. You know, it's not perfect. No Batman movie is, I think, but it's really good. And I think some people are saying it doesn't do enough different, but I think it does. It differentiates itself enough from the other movies. Basically, you know, what if Batman was in Seven? You know, instead of Morgan Freeman. So
more of the detective side. Of things.
Yeah, and it also shows what a really good thing that it shows is a Batman who's not great at being Batman yet.
He's learning.
Like even in Batman Begins, like it didn't take him very long to be a pretty perfect Batman, but in this one he messes up a lot.
So you have proper year one vibes going on.
Yeah, this is actually like he literally says that I've been doing this for 2 years, but he's still not. But it makes sense that like he still would not be great at this. Like he messes up a lot. It's a gorgeous movie. There's only there's one shot where he's like in this wingsuit, and they show him from the front, and it's really terrible. But that's like the only bad shot in the movie. Everything else is gorgeous.
Now, would you say that Robert Pattinson did justice for the role as opposed to like Christian Bale in the Dark Knight trilogy, Michael Keaton in the original Batman?
Yeah, I think he did a really good job. This is kind of this is a Batman who he's kind of more like the Keaton Batman, where Bruce Wayne basically doesn't exist in this movie. When he takes off the mask, he's super awkward and barely pretending to be, like, he doesn't go out or anything. Like, he doesn't pretend to be the playboy Bruce Wayne. He just, I am Batman, and I'm not even going to pretend.
I think I saw an interview that Pattinson did on that, and he was talking about, like, he actually played that up because he thought the whole playboy during the day and, you know, fighting crime, and I made him made the character more of a schizophrenic. Like, it's like you have this stark difference between the two of them, where I could imagine, like, if that was such a stark difference that people are like, wait, something's going on. But yeah, if you have a kind of more played down Bruce Wayne,
and plus, when do you sleep?
More.
Yeah, when do you sleep?
That's a
well,
good
he
point.
literally says, I'm a nocturnal animal. Like he there's times in that where he's like, but like he's not even pretending. Like even when he has to go out to be Bruce Wayne, he's not even pretending like he's well adjusted. Like he's still kind of being Batman without the mask.
And the last time I saw that actor was The Lighthouse.
The Lighthouse, that's a good one.
That's a good one.
I've seen several. You know, people like to give Robert Pattinson shit. I stand up for Robert Pattinson. He is a good, probably great actor. Watch him in this. Watch him in High Time. Watch him in High Life. Watch him in Good Time. The Safdie brothers movie is good time.
Have we mentioned Cosmopolis yet?
Cosmopolis, he's really good in that. But yeah, he's a great actor.
There you go.
He just, you know, he did what him and Kristen Stewart kind of did the same thing, where they used the money that they got from Twilight to just do weird stuff, and that's basically what he's done. And I think he's going to do the Batman, and then he's going to go back to doing weird stuff that doesn't make a whole lot of money.
Depp did that for a while. Mm-hmm. You know, Depp did like the art house film and then Paycheck movie. Yeah. And he's been doing Paycheck movies ever since Pirates.
Yeah, he kind of lost that,
right.
that plot.
Just a little bit, yeah.
Yeah.
All right. So thank God 2 years ago I kickstarted a whole bunch of stuff, and now it's starting to finally show up. I've got Root the RPG, which that's been a really fun read. I shouldn't say was. Mm-hmm. I'm still reading through it. I'm very excited about it. I think, Brady, you were talking about it and said it was very much like City of Mist.
It uses a lot of the dice rolling system, and some of the other systems. It uses a lot of those, except where City of Mist, uses like a short statement to figure out what pluses and minuses you get. This just uses straight base numbers instead. But the rolling system is the same. The weapons all have like tags, which is a big thing in City of Mist. It's very similar to that. It's just a little bit less. It's more number driven instead of like short statement driven. So, but it is very similar.
Very cool. Yeah, Root, the RPG, is based off of the Root board game by Cole Worley and art by Kyle Farron. One of my favorite board games of all time. And I'm very happy about how we're now fleshing out this world that they've slowly created. I'm very happy to be able to kind of dig in that, and hopefully we'll be doing that in the weeks to come.
I wouldn't be surprised to see something like an animated series, like for Netflix or HBO or something like that. Maybe
that might be cool.
That would be very interesting.
Yeah,
because there's a lot of lore there, like in that RPG.
Oh yeah,
right?
there's like. The first part of it's just
the board
history.
game. Just the board game kind of gives you an idea that this was a very lived-in world, and you're coming in immediately. Like this is not a world that existed right as you put the board game down. No, this has been around for a while, and like this maybe is the final act when you're playing the board game. So I'm very interested about Root, a game of woodland might and right, where you can either play an army of cats, an army of birds, an army of mice, foxes, and bunnies, or a dude who's a raccoon or possibly a possum. And what does that possum sound like, Brady?
Well, that possum kind of sounds like this because he just kind of goes wherever he wants.
He makes people fight one another when they don't want to. It's very funny to me. I enjoy that stuff. The other big, and when I say big, I do mean big, other big Kickstarter that finally came in for me is Return to Dark Tower from Restoration Games, based off of the Dark Tower board game from the early 80s. I never got a chance to get my hands on one. A family member had one, and it was cool, and I was too young to play it. And so the 20, 30, 40, God, I'm old, 40 years of pent up, oh my God, what is this? And I finally have a copy of it, and I've only played it once right now. So far, my first impressions are this thing is stellar.
Sweet.
I've seen some reviews of it. It looks interesting.
Production value is top notch out of this world. Again, Restoration Games. I know Downforce for you, Brady.
Downforce is great.
I also got their remake of Fireball Island, which was another great
yeah. That was a fun experience.
Yeah, great production, very simple to grok games, very easy to just kind of get in and play them, which is kind of what you want when you're playing board games.
Yeah.
I may be getting to that a little bit later, but the some of the mechanics of this, it does require Bluetooth pairing with the digital device because a lot of the game runs off of it. I think for a lot of games that could be a gimmick, I think of Ignacy Trzewiczek's First Martians, which was his follow-up to the board game Robinson Crusoe, where Robinson Crusoe I love. First Martians got overly complicated by having an app put to it. And I was very disappointed. That game suffered for it. This game is exactly what you want an app-driven board game to be. It's something that if you did not have the app, you couldn't run it the way it is run. But yeah, Return to Dark Tower again. First impressions. We're going to play it a little bit more tomorrow, gentlemen.
I can't wait.
I cannot wait myself because the first game we got up to the very end and we made a bad mistake and we lost.
That original game came out in the early '80s during the Satanic Panic, and Orson Welles was in the commercial.
Yep.
And
Orson Welles would do anything at that time.
Yep. I think they gave him a blotter of wine and a little bit of other things.
They definitely gave him some wine.
There you go. So, yeah.
What were you going to say?
Oh, Ethan had something. I completely ignored you. My apologies.
From what you've just showed us, the tower itself, the mat that you got with it, it looks really, really good.
I think I spent $250 in all on the pledge, and I've seen it going on Kickstarter right now, like the entire thing. If you wanted to get it now, $500 for everything. The main game, I would say, is probably around the 100 to 150 range. The additional expansions, you have the Alliance expansions, which add guilds, like Thieves Guild, I think a Druids Guild, things like that. It adds different colored skulls. You have skulls.
Hell yeah!
It's metal. It's so metal.
So metal.
Oh my God.
Brutal.
Yeah, but it has different colored skulls, which actually produce different effects. They have to give you a bag, so you can't just pick up skulls now. Because at the end of every turn, you take a skull, you drop it in the tower, and that's what signifies to the app that your turn's over, and it goes into the event phase where things might happen. Like dragons eating your face, amongst other things.
Speaking of Kickstarter, I do want to mention one quick thing.
Go for it.
So, I don't know, Ethan, are you aware of the professor to Tulare Community College?
Yes, I am aware of it.
Yeah. So the professor, he's been doing Magic the Gathering videos. He's been been doing deck box reviews and deck sleeve reviews for about 8 years now. And he got with one of the more higher ranking companies, GameGenic, and they got together to make a deck box. And they put it on Kickstarter. It launched yesterday or today.
I want to say it was yesterday.
It was yesterday. It launched yesterday. I put myself in the window for when it launched so I could get the early bird special. I checked my phone 2 hours after the Kickstarter kicked off, and all the early birds were gone because the deck box has been funded over $656,000, and that was yesterday when I checked it.
That's a good start.
And it was for like a $50,000 thing.
That's a good start.
And the deck box looks amazing.
It looks so good.
It's versatile. It's got some almost like Transformer like qualities to it, where you can like open snaps and like reposition things and nothing falls out ever. And not just good for Magic the Gathering either. It's good for a lot of things.
You can have dice in it. You can have like tokens in there. Yeah. I believe it's like big enough for like a 100 double sleeve.
It's big enough. It's big enough for a triple sleeve deck.
Triple sleeve.
Yes,
oh, wow.
It's big enough for an inner sleeve and a regular sleeve and an outer sleeve for 100 cards for EDH.
That's good.
Right, or you could fit 2 double sleeved EDH decks in it.
Ooh.
Not to mention the other compartments, and it folds. The top folds down to where you can put it underneath it, and it snaps in because it's got these 2 divots that are magnetically held. So it looks amazing.
It looks really good.
$45.
Oh wow.
That's okay. That probably is my favorite thing about all of that is the fact that price point.
$45.
Yeah. Okay.
By a high quality production company.
Yes. GameGenic, I think, was broken off from Fantasy Flight, and it was their it was basically their card sleeve and like doodad manufacturer. Like if you needed like these particular kind of meeples or stuff from the game,
Right.
that was Fantasy Flight had those. I think that was broken off in the Asmodee merger and made its own company.
One of their deck boxes has the top part of it converts into a dice tray that you can roll dice into.
Oh, that's cool.
You know, they're they're innovating deck boxes.
I haven't played card games in forever, but what you're saying to me right now, like for someone who used to play, and like your deck box was literally like a shoebox. Or like something, just one of those small cardboard things that you had to fold together like origami. That I'm totally for that. Like 10 out of 10. Good job, GameGenic. We appreciate you.
It looks amazing. I need to get on the Kickstarter before it eventually runs out.
You got a whole month, buddy.
Yeah,
whole month,
you usually have about 30 days. Kickstarter is like 20 to 30 days typically.
Yeah. For anyone that is any like a Magic the Gathering Pokemon fan, you have dice and tokens and whatever. Get this deck box. It is really good.
Since we're talking about Kickstarter stuff, I guess we can just kind of make it a thing this right now. I saw a very interesting RPG on Kickstarter that it's called the Slow Knife. It's a story-driven game where you're a group of conspirators who have wronged somebody. It's basically you're playing Count of Monte Cristo, but you're the guys who wronged Edmond Dantes.
Oh, okay.
So like you're coming up with this story and kind of leading into your downfall. Like at the end, he's going to get his revenge on you. It's just you're kind of making that story collaboratively in it. It looked very interesting. The guy is doing it like it's a little bit more expensive than it usually is because he found a carbon neutral factory to do it.
Oh, okay.
Which is interesting, but it looks like it's an interesting concept, and I'm a sucker for kind of gimmicky RPGs who are kind of interesting thing. It looked interesting. Thought I might just bring that up.
No, that's very nice. Again, more interesting things to talk about. I like that.
Yeah.
We do like reducing our carbon footprint around here at the Travelers. All right, gentlemen, before we get into the topic of the week, let us talk a little bit about who we are and what we're doing here. So again, the tagline, as I gave you at the very beginning, is a field trip through nerd and pop culture. That's basically what we're going to be doing in the coming weeks, hopefully. We're just going to be presenting you with topics that are near and dear to us in nerd and pop culture. Sometimes we'll be talking about books, sometimes movies, games. Games is going to be, I think, very good because I think I'm sitting with 4 very experienced, very fun gamers, especially to play with as far as stuff like that goes. But we're going to hit the whole gamut. Like if it's a movie that we want to talk about or a series of movies, we're going to talk about that. Genres, whether it's genre fiction you got to read or sit down and watch or sometimes sit down to a game and play. That's what Travelers on the Omnibus is. We're going to go through all of it, hopefully, given enough time. And if we have infinity, we're going to take it to the very end of it.
Everything and anything.
Exactly. So there you go. Gentlemen, would you like to add anything more at Travelers on the Omnibus?
Yeah. One thing that I always wanted to do on a podcast is talk about my love for samurai films, such as Akira Kurosawa. And hopefully we'll be able to get into that at some point.
That's another seat on the bus.
You know,
that seat has both Akira Kurosawa and turtles, samurais and ninjas living together on the omnibus, baby. That's how it's going to roll.
That's true. There's a lot.
Ethan, what do you want to be talking about eventually?
I find myself to enjoy more of like movie deep dives.
Into genres or to a specific movie in and of itself.
More so like title specific. So like a series of movies that we go into, things like that.
Okay.
We're definitely going to expose you to some. For sure.
That's the thing that I think is going to be really good with this is that, three of us are kind of close or fairly close in age, but Ethan's a little bit younger than us.
I am a young babe.
We will make fun of him about that, but we will also use that as an opportunity to expose him to a bunch of different things
that we get to talk about.
A bunch of different legal things.
Yes,
a bunch of different legal things.
Movies, books, games.
Yes.
In
a week, alcohol. Because he's about to turn the big 2-1, aren't you? There you go.
Ethan, we're going to ease you into horror movies, and it's not going to be scary, my buddy.
Which I'm actually excited about.
Yeah.
No, we're going full force.
Okay, we're starting with Audition.
We're starting with Audition. The next time, it's going to be Martyrs.
Third time is going to be Audition, but in black and white.
With no subtitles, but in Japanese.
Yeah.
So again, anything and everything. We also, one of the things we intend to hopefully have is if we got friends around, we would like them to sit around, be a studio audience, and be a part of it. One of the sections that we will not be able to get to this week because we aren't popular enough to have friends yet is questions from the bus. And we will ask people that manage to stay around while we're recording to ask us anything and everything, and hopefully we'll provide them with the best answers possible.
Or the worst.
Or the absolute fucking worst answers possible.
It will probably be the worst,
definitely.
If we're being honest.
More than likely.
We might even in wrestling we'll talk about wrestling every now and again
because wrestling can be nerdy.
Yes. And we want to be like
it's pretty nerdy.
We want to add the number of wrestling podcasts in the studio from 1 to 1.1. Yes. and hopefully have a good thing there. We'll talk more about our friends at Whiskey and Wrestling here in a little bit. But gentlemen, anything else we want to add to the good people to let them know what they can expect?
No, we're just going to be talking about stuff that we like, stuff that we're interested in.
Just join us on this journey of wonderment.
Yes. Yeah. Travelers on the Omnibus. Jody, you came up with a very good topic for our first episode, so if you would, please present it to the bus.
Partial credit goes to Ethan for helping me on this homework assignment.
He gets the assist.
He gets the assist there. Everything can be fun when you're by yourself, all alone. You can play a video game. You can play a board game by yourself, though. You can also play an RPG by yourself. But everything is better with friends.
Except torture. If I'm going to get tortured, I want to be tortured alone. I don't want to also think about Ethan being waterboarded and ripped apart by dogs.
Yeah, sometimes having your friends tortured is how they torture you.
That is how I live my life.
I will.
8 seconds at a time.
I will say for
yes,
all right, Vin Diesel.
Yeah, you didn't expect Fast and Furious quotes.
No, who does?
Yeah, exactly. You're gonna get more. If Ethan is being beaten by socks filled with soap,
right?
1, how did he end up in the Marine Corps? 2, no, I'm not cool with that. I'm not cool with my.
I'm not cool with
help that boy because he's in a Stanley Kubrick movie.
I'm not. I don't want to hurt. I don't want to have my friends get hurt. But everything else is fine.
If you have those tendencies, please seek proper help.
Yes. That's a weird thing to weave into that, man.
Well,
we have crocheted a horrible quilt.
That's okay. We should have a trigger warning at the beginning. We should have 14 warnings at the beginning of the show.
We're just going to keep adding warnings.
Yeah.
We've got 2.
Okay.
And if we go any more, the show is going to be called Warnings. Also, Travelers on the Omnibus.
Sometimes we go through a tunnel and it's dark, okay?
There you go. So, this isn't even a train and we're derailed. It's a bus theme. Okay, so everything's better with friends.
Everything's better with friends.
Except torture.
Yes, except torture. That's way better with friends.
Yeah.
Yes.
So.
No! It is not! We have established by the Geneva Convention, literally, No torture.
Okay.
All right, moving on.
Yes, moving on. So, Jody, continue your presentation.
That presentation's over with.
Thank you for your presentation. It is at this point that you would kick it to someone and say, "Hey, what
Ethan.
do you find better with
Jody,
friends?"
How you doing?
How you doing, buddy?
Oh, I'm good.
What do you think's better with friends?
In all seriousness,
I'm sorry. I thought you were going to say torture. I thought you, in all seriousness, no, I dig torturing friends.
That would have been one of us.
My torture is really cool.
Nipple clamps and branding irons. Let's do it.
get the cattle pod out.
Okay. I apologize. I will go back to being mute.
Okay. In all seriousness, I very much enjoy a really, really good movie with either a group of friends or some family members. A lot of my fond memories are just me watching movies with my siblings at my grandfather's house. So a lot of that I like cling onto, and I never want to like sit in a dark room by myself or even go to a movie theaters by myself and watch a movie. I always want to have some kind of company with me, and so it's just something that I kind of like cling on to. I think this past Christmas, me, my siblings, and my brother that flew down from Washington, we went to go see No Way Home, the newest Spider-Man movie, and we absolutely enjoyed it. We watched it. We went out to Applebee's, I believe, after it. It's one of those like things that I will always enjoy.
During that film, there were a couple of, for some of us maybe, a couple of emotional situations. Was that awkward around family members? Did you have any awkward, like, I don't want to show that I'm crying right now?
A tear may have been shed or two, but absolutely not. My brother was bawling.
Yeah,
as you should.
Like one of the parts,
throwing your brother under the bus like that. Oh, my brother.
I would throw him under all the buses.
Will you throw him under the omnibuses?
Absolutely.
This is a big buzz. That's a lot. That's a lot to throw.
It's all the buses.
It's all the buses.
It's a Googleplex of buses.
It's a bus plus.
During that movie, like I took my kids to see it, and my son's a really big Spider-Man fan. And I'm not gonna do spoilers, but like one of the big reveals, like right before the climax, and y'all, if you watched it, you know exactly what I'm talking about. Like just seeing his face, like turn over and look at me, and oh, look at that, like that was that was really heartwarming. Yeah, so I perfectly get that. I'm not a big like when it comes to like movies with friends, like I don't like watching like bad movies very often, but watching bad movies with friends,
it's way better.
Very, very enjoyable.
There's this thing we do around my birthday called JMOS because I'm a self-important asshole. But one of the things I like to do and haven't been able to do in the last couple of years is we play a large board game called Twilight Imperium. One day we'll talk more about that. But then I also like to show a horrible, fun movie. Like not a horrible movie that is just horrible throughout, but is fun to watch and good to go with. I am responsible for Brady Davis seeing The Miami Connection, which is one of the best bad movies of all time.
Yes, you are responsible for that.
Yes, exactly. Being all mean and shit, and then you're responsible for that. No, you had
making
fun.
me watch that movie after playing. Was it 6 hours?
No,
that time?
no, that was the shortest one ever. It was 4 hours.
4 hours. Oh,
it was only
4 hours.
It was 4 players, 4 hours, and the 4 of us knew that game backwards and forwards. So yeah.
So I was half delirious watching that,
which is the mind state you want to be at when you see Miami Connection.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So what I'm saying is you're welcome. Is what I'm trying to say.
Next time, street trash.
Actually, the next one I plan on doing is Deadly Prey.
Ooh.
Yeah.
But yeah, movies definitely better with friends.
Mm-hmm.
Very nice. Very nice. Brady, you sit across from Ethan, so why don't you go with yours?
I thought about this a lot when we were talking about the topic. I didn't have anything outright, but the more I thought about it, like most of the time when I watch a movie, I'm probably going to watch it alone. Books, that's hard to do with friends. Board games, I play a lot with friends, but I also play a lot of board games solo just to kill time when I'm at my house. And sometimes like games that I don't see play very much with friends, so to get them played, I will play them by myself. I've even like recently kickstarted some solo games. I've never played solo RPGs, but like RPGs usually. But there's one thing that I like to do that really I can't think of any way that I can't do it with friends, and that is miniature gaming. I got into miniature gaming a few years ago, starting with War Machine. playing that a lot.
From Privateer Press
From
Games.
Privateer Press. War Machine / Hordes. Got into that, and I played that longer than a lot of my friends. And then, recently, in the past couple of years, we've gotten into Age of Sigmar and are slowly getting into Warhammer 40K, much to the dismay of our wallets. But that's something that you can't really do a tabletop. You can do like the hobby part, the painting and all of that by yourself. But if you want to get to the table, you're gonna have to have somebody else to play with.
Right.
And that's when, having, playing the game and having that strategy and back and forth with your friends, especially when you're learning the game, is very fun.
I cannot remember the name of the YouTuber, but he did a solo play of 1,000 point. I want to say it was a 40K game. He built both armies and he played both armies. And what he did was he did one army's turn, and then he went away for a day, and then he came back and did the other army's turn, and they went back and forth. I can see this in my mind. I thought it was an interesting thing and something that, like, as a novelty, or even so much as like a strategy. Like, if you come back and like you kind of purge your head, and it's like, okay, I can see that this might be interesting, but you can't do that on a regular basis and have fun.
That's more of like an exercise.
It's more of like a mental exercise. No, I think that's the best way to put it.
That's at that point you're solving a puzzle basically every single time you step up to the thing. But that's something that you have to have somebody with. Like, you can't do that solo, and that I think is more of a special case, because you have to have, okay, here's some place that I can set this up and leave this for several days. But this is something that you have to have that back and forth with somebody, and it is, back and forth. It's kind of like a chess game going back and forth.
And you can't play chess by yourself. I mean,
not effectively.
Physical, not physical chess. I mean,
There you go. All right, no.
But like, you can't even, like, I can get apps of a lot of board games that don't even have solo modes and play them by myself. Like, I've, Catan, Sentinels of the Multiverse. I have, several of these apps that I can just play by myself. Ticket to Ride.
Yeah.
But you can't really get an app of Age of Sigmar or 40K and play that. You have to have that, and I think that
I think if you could, that would bankrupt the company.
Yeah.
Probably.
Yeah,
more than likely.
Games Workshop probably wouldn't ever let that happen.
Yeah.
That is a story for another time.
Yes.
Jody, do you want to rock, paper, scissors for the next one?
No.
No? Okay, then just take it.
I will.
All right, go for it.
As Brady mentioned, there are solo RPGs, tabletop RPGs you can do, but I find that not really that much exciting for me.
Yeah, those are another thing that's more of an exercise, really, a mental exercise.
Right. I am a games master at heart. I love running games. I prefer to run games over playing them because I don't have to worry about rolling dice correctly. I can just do whatever I want, and I'm fine. But I love world building. I love creating NPCs, non-playable characters, cities, states, organized governments, all of that fun stuff. But all of that is completely useless if you don't have a group of people to play with you.
Oh, yeah.
And so that's when those experiences really shine, and all of that hard work comes to fruition when then you get to the point where you can share that narrative with a group of people that also add creativity on top of what you've already done yourself. And you just have a great time with your friends. You make new friends that way sometimes.
Oh, absolutely.
Every once in a while, you might have a person at your table that, it might be, mildly annoying or, not know what they're doing. But that's fine as long as they're not running the game and you know what you're doing. It's not a problem at all.
Quick question.
Yes, sir.
Percentage-wise, balance.
Yeah.
It's a story creating exercise with basically a dice mechanic or some other random mechanic, so that it's not just completely dictated by one side or the other.
Right.
What percentage is on the game master and what percentage is on the players to create that world?
I think it's really a 50-50, Jay.
Okay.
That's how I do it. Normally, for anybody who wants any tips, I mean, I've been running games for about 15 years now, and what I generally do is there is like a wrestling match. There's a start, there's a middle, and there's a finish. And the start is up to me. to tell everybody whatever they're playing, wherever we're at, this is what's happening, this is the beginning of the game, and then it's their job to tell the middle part with me having little plot points and things for them to find, and then the ending is up to me. The other thing that I'm supposed to be doing, though, as a games master, is almost shepherding them into certain situations. Not railroading, though. That's a term that's used in tabletop RPGs where, let's just say that I'm a bad game master, and I want you to do, like, let's just say, I want you to do C. And you're wanting to do B, A, D, and any other thing that I don't want you to do. Well, there's 2 or 3 ways you can go about that. You can either just tell the players they can't do that, which is a no-no in my personal opinion.
Yeah.
Or you could give them multiple options that lead them to sort of the same conclusion. But I also base what's happening in the middle of the game depending on what the players do to make adjustments. Sometimes a choice the players make will make me completely change what I was going to do next and, even set up what the next session's going to be based off of what a player chose, And that's the fun part of the creative process for me is trying to balance that narrative that's continually changing, in the middle of the campaign.
Yeah. All right. For me, I think the percentage kind of goes up and down depending, there are moments where you kind of have to railroad. Let me say, you have to lay a couple sections of track,
right?
Or otherwise, they're just.
It can't be freeform. It can't be 100% freeform.
At the same time, if you want someone to invest in what you're doing, you have to give them an opportunity to invest in it.
Right.
You have to give them the ability to.
Agency is a really big.
Thank you.
Right.
That gets to the word right there.
The thing that comes down to life also, but mainly in tabletop RPGs. And pretty much any gaming scenario is what you have the illusion of choice. So let's just say, for a real quick example, we have a continent that is in my RPG that we're running. On that continent, there are 5 cities that are kind of small and 1 large city-state. Now, as a starting adventurer, what would you like to do first? Would you like to go to these little bitty places, or do you want to go to the big place? Well, that's up to the players, but you still only have those 5 or 6 places to choose from. You only have so much choice you can make. So I have to plan around the different choices that you're going to make. That's really what it's down to. That's as close to railroading as I'd like to do. Is you have these anchor points, and you can choose whether or not you want to go there or to go there.
Yeah, and I like that you have that collaborative take on games mastering.
Right.
I think a lot of people sometimes see it as a games master versus them,
and it can be
as an adversary.
Yeah.
And sometimes you have to be that.
You do
have to be the adversary, but it's not the entire point of it. Isn't it's me versus you?
Right.
It's me trying to beat you. I like it better when it's
a shared narrative.
When it's a shared narrative. When it's we are creating. I have created this world. And you kind of, it's kind of like how they talk about in Inception. Like we create this world, and the dreamer fills it with their people.
Right.
That's kind of what you create the world, and then the players fill it with other things.
Because me as a games master, I've invested time in planning a lot of things. You as a player have invested in your character and what you would like to do with that character, and we should both get to enjoy those things simultaneously.
Yeah.
Yes.
And the more complicated job there is the game master, because you're wearing so many hats.
You're wearing a lot of hats.
You're wearing the hat of the adversary. You're also wearing the hat of the accountant to make sure everything is kind of within more.
You have to keep up with players, and you want to make sure they're not cheating.
You're the head writer and the director and the producer, and then you're none of those at some points, and then you just have to let it go. And that can be you have to go with the flow, and if you can't manage that, I would say never sit in that chair.
Yeah, I like looking at it like this. Like if you're writing a novel, let's just say a short story, you want to have an outline of what you want to have happen. You have let's just say 10 points of an outline. You have the beginning, and then you have the middle, and then you have the end. And in the middle of that outline, you want a lot of flexibility because maybe you don't know where your story is going, but you have those little anchor points to tell you sort of your direction. You sort of want to have that in a world building kind of exercise when you're running an RPG.
All right, I think I'll follow up with Brady. You mentioned board games briefly before going into minis. I will go back to board games, but specifically co-op board games. Co-op board games are built where you could play them as just one person.
Yeah,
you just can't. Like you can play games like Pandemic, Fire Rescue. Trying to think what else. What's another really good one? Horrified. That's another really good one right now. You can play them by yourself. You can even play them as though multiple players. There's nothing more fun for me to sit down to a cooperative game with people who are looking to try to figure out a problem together. And there's just nothing, and especially when you come together and you figure out that problem. And sometimes even when you don't, it's just this shared of, well, we tried, and the big pronoun in there is we. We all came together and we tried to do this, and we each kind of shared our own opinions and stuff. Now, that being said, alpha gamers, go away.
Yeah.
If I wanted to play a single player game, I just play the single player game and have everybody else. Don't dictate what everybody's doing.
And also, another thing that's really cool about those kind of games is you can have a guy who may be new or maybe just quiet not talk the entire game. And then everyone's trying to figure something out, and all of a sudden the guy that hasn't spoken for the whole entire time, or girl, hasn't spoken for the entirety of the game, says one thing and it clicks with the whole entire table.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
I think those kind of co-op games where everybody has a piece of limited information, and there's only certain ways that they can share it. The first one that comes to mind is like Shadows over Camelot, where you can only communicate limited things, so you're forced to be more cooperative with each other than, like, it doesn't lead to a lot. You don't see, every time that I played Shadows over Camelot, I can't really think of anybody who's alpha gamed it, who's kind of been the boss and told everybody, this is what you need to do, this is what you need to do. For those who might not know what an alpha gamer is, that's pretty much it. Somebody who basically takes this opportunity to tell everybody what the right move that they need to do. Because a lot of co-op games are just basically long form puzzles, and if you can logic out what needs to be done, oftentimes that'll lead to one person saying, you need to do this, this is the best thing, and just kind of basically playing the game for everybody on that.
It's written in the regular rules of Pandemic that everybody's hand of cards is secret. A lot of people play it with open. I want to say, if you want to avoid the alpha gamer in Pandemic, play with your cards closed, because at the very least that person then has to ask, well, what does everybody have? And then it forces it, but to me it's forcing for something good. It's forcing for collaboration instead of having this one person tell everybody else what to do.
And that's like why I like Mysterium so much. That game is almost built against an alpha gamer.
Oh yeah. Yeah, Mysterium's a great Mysterium and Obscurio. Those are great co-op games to work together.
I would even go as far to put Betrayal and House on the Hill in that co-op sort of game.
I agree with you for the first half. And then the second one becomes a one versus the rest kind of game. The game is too random for me to really treat it as a game. I like it. I do like playing Betrayal and House on the Hill, but I don't come at if you go in there with the notion of winning or losing Betrayal, I almost think you're missing the point of it. I think it's the experience of the game that you're really supposed to take away, as opposed to any kind of final result on it.
And the game is not built for beginners, because there's nothing more sad than to see 6 players at a table that have never played that game before. When that second half hits, they're going to have to figure it out, and it's not always straightforward what you should do.
It is sometimes very hard to understand what you need to do in that game when you actually figure out who's on what team.
This next statement is apocryphal, but I guarantee you, I have run more games of that where it was 5 people who have played before, 1 person who hasn't, and almost like clockwork, the person who hasn't played
is
before
the betrayer.
is the traitor.
Yeah.
And then now it's like, well, he has no one to help him learn the rules, because he's got to figure this out. And meanwhile, the 5 people sitting there, it's like, oh, we've got this because we all know what to do. Like, I know there's like 50 scenarios in the base game, and Widow's Walk, the expansion, there's like another 50 scenarios. You don't know exactly what to do, but you have an idea. Okay, this is what we've done in the past. A lot of them are a bit too similar for me. Like, I don't think 50 were necessary. I think you could have gone with 30, and there's still enough replay value there. But but I do like Betrayal. And if you've got a group of people that have played it before and understand that it's an experience, I think sitting down to that, I think that's pretty good. And I think you have a good time with that. I see you pointing at something.
It's 11:44. Ethan has to go to work.
Becomes a pumpkin.
I got 10 minutes.
Okay.
10 minutes.
All right.
We should be able to.
Okay. All right. One thing, and then we'll go to our close. So We've mentioned stuff that's good, just very briefly, because the topic is what's better with friends. Something that you like more alone than typically is enjoyed with other people. I'll just start real quick. I like watching sporting events alone. I love my teams. I support my teams. Go Saints. Go Red Sox. Go Braves. And I know, yes, I mentioned 2 baseball teams in there, but I have my AL team and my NL team. I like to watch them alone. I just like to be able to just sit in there, and just kind of be able, nitpick and pick out stuff and kind of talk out loud and stuff like that. I feel when there's other people in the room, I feel like either I'm imposing on like they would also like to watch the game, or it's just this and like that can, for me, that's distracting. Mm-hmm. It's a little strange, but for me, I like watching sporting events alone.
That's weird. I'm kind of the opposite of that. Like I'm not really a sports person, but I can watch sports much more easily. I don't hate sports, but I'm not big on it. I can watch sports more easily with people.
When we talk about the UFC one day, you have to share the story with us and the bus about the Chael Sonnen and Anderson Silva fight.
Oh yeah,
because that's a great.
We'll
to me, that's a great story.
We'll figure out.
We'll touch on that.
We'll figure out how to put that in something.
Brady, what do you like alone that it can be done with more people?
It's weird for me because a lot of things that I like doing alone, I then like to discuss with people, because oftentimes when you have a movie or something that you really, or a TV show or something that you really like, you want to show it to somebody, you'll oftentimes just sit there and be like constantly turning and looking at them and being like, okay, are they reacting how they're supposed to react? And I don't really like doing that. I like just sharing the things that I like. But something that I really do like, reading is a big thing. I like getting lost in a book, like fantasy and sci-fi. That's probably my 2 favorite genres. But I love like having that story, imagining that story in my head. And when you get that book that really like causes goosebumps or something because of this moment that's been culminated, that you've been reading for in the book series, and you're like waiting for something that's been hinted at that's going to happen, and it finally happens, and like, oh man. So that's probably the thing that I love most about. I still like discussing books that I like and stuff, because who doesn't like talking about stuff that they like with people? But that's probably the main thing that I like doing.
Talking about stuff you like with people is literally the premise of this entire podcast.
Yeah,
So
I mean that's why I'm on the podcast.
Jody, go for it.
We've never been on any other podcast. Yes. Moving on.
Not as the 4 of us.
Yes. Well, that's very true. So the first time I watch a horror movie, I like to watch it by myself in the dark, because there are 2 things I love about horror: cool factor and being scared. And almost nothing scares me because of how many films I've seen. Mm-hmm. So I want to be in the dark at night by myself. So hopefully I will be frightened at some point.
Mm-hmm. You will not see me no less than 100 feet away from that room that you're in, because I will stay away from that scenario.
If you ever have trouble pooping, Ethan, just watch a scary movie by yourself while on the toilet.
Specific scary movies, though, because not all horror movies are scary.
Yeah.
But all scary movies are typically horror.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Star Wars: The Rise of Skywalker is the most terrifying movie of all time.
For
many reasons.
For different and one day we might go into that fact.
We don't have time today.
Ethan, before you turn into a pumpkin, something that you like alone that usually is done with other people.
I typically enjoy a really good like solo play video game by myself.
Oh yeah.
Going into Horizon's got the new God of War game. Mm-hmm. Elden Ring, even though I haven't played it yet, I've seen a lot of good things about it.
that first cinematic just blew you away.
Oh, absolutely!
Not only blew you away, blew your computer away.
Yeah.
But being able to immerse myself into that setting, to explore the open world aspects of it, to find like Easter eggs and find hidden gems,
and being immersed,
being immersed in that environment, I absolutely love it. It's a little selfish of me to like keep it to myself and not share this with anyone, but it's just something that I absolutely enjoy.
I definitely agree, because I'm not a really big multiplayer person. Mm-hmm. Like I can think of 1 or 2 games that I played multiplayer online, at least, of course, things like Mario Kart and stuff like that that you can play with friends, Smash Brothers, things like that.
But like games. Those are games.
Our penchant to beat the shit out of each other in fighting games.
Yeah, but the vast majority, if you look at my library of games that I have, they're single player
action adventure.
Yeah, action adventure or RPGs for me.
Like the list goes on with so many single player titles. Ori and the Blind Forest, Super Mario Odyssey, God of War, all of those games can just emulsify anyone into that environment. It's just absolutely stunning.
Oh yeah, definitely agree with that.
All righty. Ladies and gentlemen, the bus is about to pull into its final stop. We want to thank everybody for coming out tonight. We have some other thank yous that we got to get on. First, Jody, self-promotion. Tell us about Fearology.
Fearology is my solo podcast. At some point, I hope to have guests on the show. Maybe somebody sitting here, maybe all of you.
Possibly.
We're all figments of your imagination.
Jesus. That's the real horror movie.
Yeah.
Fearology, it's on Anchor, and it's also on Spotify. I don't really do essays per se. I just give my personal opinions on the horror movies that I love to watch and some that I don't love to watch, so that you can maybe, see something that you want to go see or avoid it.
Yeah, I like it. Brady, tell everyone about whiskey and wrestling.
Do you like wrestling? Do you like to drink? Usually whiskey. I know I was on their podcast recently and we didn't have whiskey. We had tequila.
You guys sounded absolutely disgusted with it.
I'm not a liquor person per se, and I really don't like tequila either. Especially it wasn't fun, but it was The Rock's tequila, so we were like, I guess we have to do this. But yeah, our friends Jason Holder and Michael Hill, they have a podcast where they mostly talk about wrestling with some little drinking in between. So yeah, follow them. We just did a special thing with them, so check that out about the passing of the bad guy, Scott Hall, a.k.a. Razor Ramon.
Hey, yo.
Yeah.
I want to get my imitation in there as well.
Oh, yeah.
There you go. Also, a quick little wrestling fact. Thunder Rosa versus Britt Baker happened tonight. We may be dating the podcast this way, but whatever. It started out slow, and then it went New Jack, and everything got much better.
Yeah, check that out. Anywhere where you can get podcasts.
Yes. Good podcasts. Not where you can get the bad podcasts.
Yeah.
Silence Your Cell Phones, another place where another podcast where you can be found with other good podcasts. Kevin Shelton and Jarrett Hubbard, our friends, massive cinephiles. Every week they watch about 2 or 3 movies and tell you what you should be watching. They also watch bingeable television, telling you whether you should binge it as well. They have a live show that comes on, I think, every Wednesday on YouTube. And if it doesn't come on Wednesday, it will show up on another day, because if they miss a day, they're making it up, baby.
Hey, just subscribe to the YouTube channel and hit all those bells and all that, and it'll just tell you.
Yes. Also, have you tried Raid Shadow? No, if we're gonna do the, we almost went full influencer there.
We have one more announcement to make.
We have one more announcement.
We'd like to thank McNarb Gaming.
We would like to thank McNarb Gaming in Goshen, Mississippi, for providing us this excellent studio space where we get to talk to you and tell you everything we think we know about what we think we know about. Also, Ethan, real quick, tell everyone about Brady's podcast, Brady versus the World.
Brady versus the World. He gets a subject. He talks about it.
Hey,
he has the wrong opinions about everything.
Ethan.
Yes.
Ethan. That podcast doesn't exist.
Yes.
I have a brand to maintain.
Yes.
No, but it might be a segment on this show.
I don't know what this is. But
we've already had the T-shirts made.
Brand.
All the baseball caps that have been made.
Then, as long as I'm getting a cut, that's fine.
You unfortunately get like 1% of the cut.
No. That's not how this works.
I didn't expect
I will get my lawyer, Jay.
Hi,
how does that work?
Hello, James McCarthy, professional podcast, non-podcast lawyer.
You haven't made any money yet, though, so.
See, you should have said, sue me for what?
$0.
I've approximately made negative $67 on it.
All right, we've gone off the rails, in the rails, in between the rails.
Just about that's
follow
about
us.
it.
We're still kind of getting our sea legs on this, so to speak.
I think our legs are firmly planted on the ground.
I think we did pretty good job.
so.
But
I think on this podcast that I'm a part of, I think it's the best podcast ever. How about that?
I have to agree.
Think about that.
I second
Absolutely.
that opinion.
Again, we would end with questions from the bus, but we don't have a studio audience, so we're going to get advice from the bus. Jody Lee Kight, please give some advice to some of the travelers out there.
Buckle up, Buttercup. It's going to be a bumpy ride.
So, for myself, James McCarthy,
Jody Kight,
Brady Davis,
Ethan Skinner.
we have been Travelers on the Omnibus. Thank you for stopping by our first regular episode. Tune in next time when we talk about, we have a homework assignment, rather, on the first book in the Chronicles of Amber series, The Nine Princes in Amber. And thank you very much for stopping by. Tell your friends about us, and good night.
good night, everybody.
Good night.
good night.